Good morning. Welcome to Deacon Jody Daily. Continuing through Lent. Remember, we want to make sure that our Lent is powerful. And so, prayer, fasting, almsgiving. Today, we hear about it in a way that reminds us of Ash Wednesday. And it's a powerful reminder. So, if you enjoy the videos, like and share, subscribe and follow. I don't understand algorithms in this context, but I understand that that's how the videos get populated, get shared, and that's how the ministry grows. And that's what we're trying to do, is grow this ministry of scripture reflections. So I appreciate all of you for following us and continuing to support us. And I promise you, at some point, I'm going to take this visual and dress it up, and at some point probably get maybe some supporters to sponsor these daily reflections, uh, and then I can take those funds and I can use those to do talks and travel and speak, and not have to charge people. Whenever I do a 3-day mission, like I did one in Kansas, I told the pastor that I was going to be up there because my granddaughter was having a first communion, and I would be willing to stay for 3 days and do a mission for them. And so what I did was, she received her communion on Saturday afternoon. I preached all the masses that weekend at that church, Saturday and all the Sundays, and then Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, I did 3-day mission. I did not charge the church a penny. I did bring some books. I did sell some books. And I do that to generate income to pay for the travel and stuff. Well, in that case, I was going anyway, so there wasn't any extra travel. But if I'm going to go travel to, let's say, we've done them in Mississippi, we've done them in other cities in Louisiana, and there's some costs involved, and then printing handouts and different things like that. So, I don't mind giving. Investing in the ministry. My friend Greg Raymond, I know when he does a mission he came and did us, he brought all his own stuff. He printed banners and came and put them at the church, and he invests in his ministry, and I'm willing to do that too, but there's a limit to what you can possibly do. If you want me to come to your parish, private message me, and I'll give you a packet with a referral from the Director of Catechesis and Evangelization for the diocese, a copy of the book, and you can give it to your pastor and say, hey, this guy can do a mission for us, and I'll be glad to come to your parish. If you want to promote that, I'll be glad to do that. Just private message me. So today we see Isaiah, and Isaiah's saying that what we should do is cleanse ourselves. We should be clean. Wash yourselves clean, I think is what it says. And so that's the prelude to what Matthew's gospel says today, where Jesus is warning everybody. He says, look, do what the scribes and Pharisees say, because what they're doing, because they're sitting in the seat of Moses, they're teaching you the word. So listen to what they're saying. They're teaching you the word, but don't do what they do. And what he's saying is because they do things for show, and that's not what you want to do. You remember Ash Wednesday, those that pray in secret, God sees, because he sees in secret. Fasting, don't do it to show off. Almsgiving, don't do it to show off. When you're fasting, wash your face, comb your hair, don't look like you're fast. That's what this talk is about. These rabbis and scribes, they do it to show off. They want to sit in places of honor. They want people to know what they're doing. And Jesus is warning, that's not what you want to do. See, you don't want to get your reward now. You want to get your reward later in heaven. And that's what this talk is all about. being upright is what the psalm says today. So in our lives, what we should do is we should be humble. It's all about humility in the face of God. And in that humility, we show God the absence of pride. Remember, pride was that first sin of our first parents. And we want to show God that we are absent pride, that we are full of humility, and that we are willing to live a holy life. I heard, I think maybe it was Dr. Gray at the Augustine Institute say something to the effect of, look, just because our religious leaders, and he might not have used this word, are not holy, doesn't absolve us from the requirement to be holy. We, Mother Teresa said, we're not called to be successful, we're called to be holy. And so we want to always try to be holy in the face of a society that is not about holiness. It's about success. Now, I'm not putting down success because there's a Deuteronomy 8:18, maybe it is. It says if you do what's in the scripture, you'll have success. Um, um, and Jeremiah 1:8 says, I think if you do everything in the word, then you will reach your goal. I think that the way to reach your goals and be successful is to do it the way God teaches us, which is faithful to His word. I'll say this, that being humble um, is not as hard as you would think it is. Um, it's a challenge because there's a part of us that wants to excel. There's a prayer that Father Chris Decker gave the men at the men's conference last week. It's the Litany of Humility. I encourage you to look it up. Litany of Humility. It says, "O Jesus, meek and humble of heart, hear me. From the desire of being esteemed, deliver me, O Jesus. From the desire of being loved, deliver me, O Jesus." It goes on, and then it says, "That others may be loved more than I, grant me the grace to desire it." And I love this one, "That others may be praised and I go unnoticed. Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it." That's what today's scripture is all about. I'm going to pray this litany as soon as we get off the air here, and I've since that Saturday. I picked up a copy of it at my church. My pastor had actually printed them out and put them in the back, and I picked a couple of them up, and I have one by my prayer chair, and I have one in my office, and I'm going to pray this litany as soon as I get off and before I go get ready for work. So anyway, today's been a great day. Remember, I'm willing to do. And look, it doesn't have to be a 3-night mission. I do days of reflection. If you parish and your pastor wants to have a morning of reflection, like have a Saturday morning mass, and then have a speaker come in to do, 2 or 3 hours um, of prayer reflection on a topic. I have a talk that I did, Men in Black, Agents of Grace, which talks about how we can be grace to provide grace for others. I have, there's just a couple of them. And if you want to private message me, I can give you some information about it and maybe be a blessing to your parish. Remember, I'm praying for you, especially during Lent, and you pray for me. God bless everybody.